Here.
Probst.
Here.
Reinke.
Here.
Rhodes.
Here.
10 present, unexcused.
Alderman Vitale will lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I know you probably didn't notice that the mayor isn't here this evening because I look so much like him. Only about a foot difference in height and a few years in age, and I have a few more gray hairs. We have one public hearing this evening, if the clerk would read the notice.
A hearing on the improvement of various alleys, as noted on the agenda, by removal and reconstruction of the concrete alley pavement, storm sewer, building services, utility adjustments, and storm underdrain.
Should we make her read them?
Mr. Daniels?
Thank you. Okay, this is the public hearing for the alley reconstruction projects. There are actually 10 of them. Here are the procedures for tonight. I'll go through the project scope and the cost, and we'll discuss assessment rates and methods of payment. And then we'll have comments and questions from the Common Council and then from citizens. Then the public hearing will be closed and the project to be referred to the Public Works Committee for discussion and a vote, and then the final decision will be later tonight by the full Common Council. I'm not going to read all of them because there are 10 of them, like I said, but you'll notice as I go through that almost every one of them was built in 1928 and then resurfaced in like 1974 or 1973. So they're all 87 or 88 years old, except the last two, which I'll talk about. But they're all up and down 60th Street because we've been waiting to do those. From Washington to Madison, Madison to National, and then from Rogers to Mobile, from Grant to Lincoln, all about the same year. Amazingly, they built all these alleys in 1928, 1927. Lapham to Mitchell, this one is over by Farmers Market. And then one by Veterans Park, National to Mitchell, 69th to 70th. Then there are two more alleys that are actually going to be built by the city of Milwaukee because they're literally right on the border. Some of the residents are in West Dallas, some of the residents are in Milwaukee. So we have to have the hearing for our portion. The first one is from 65th to 66th, south of Arthur, that is. It's not labeled, but that's Arthur. This alley was put in 1954, so it's 61 years old. And this alley would actually be reconstructed by the city of Milwaukee this summer. And then the other one is from 67th to 68th. That alley was built in 1955, so it's 60 years old. And that one would also be built by the city of Milwaukee this summer because most of the alley is actually in Milwaukee. Here's some pictures from some of our alleys up along 60th Street. Severe pavement deterioration. Far too many cracks to try and seal the cracks anymore. Our Public Works Department has actually been recommending that these alleys be done since about 2008, but we wanted to wait until we got 60th Street out of the way. Here's some more pictures. Like I said, the concrete underneath this asphalt was from 1928, and the asphalt has failed. It's 87 years old. Far too many potholes to try and manually fill the potholes. That's why our Public Works Department has been recommending that we address this in a much better and more efficient manner by reconstructing it. And then the alligator cracking, the pieces are about the size of my hand. So this pavement is completely failed. Here's what a finished alley will look like, brand new concrete pavement. We put in new underdrain underneath, new catch basins. We try not to touch the driveways, but in some cases we do have to saw off a foot of this to get the forms in to lay the concrete. But for the most part, we're just going down the middle and not touching driveways. Here's some more information. Each alley, we give 25 working days to the contractor. The first 10 days or so, he usually spends putting in the sewer and the underdrain, and you can still get into your garage. It's the last 15 days of that where he's taking out the pavement, putting in the new concrete. Gotta let the concrete get hard. So 25 days, not including rain days. The work, like I said, will include some storm sewer and under drain under the alleys, which they did not put in 1928, so the new alleys will be much drier, should last as long as the old ones, or longer. We put in 5 inches of stone underneath, and the new alley pavement would be 7 inches thick. There would be a nice V in the middle to have the water flow. Right now, most of the alleys are rutted, and the water doesn't go anywhere. Like I said, we would have to cut off usually 1 to 2 feet of some of the approaches to get the forms in. The homeowners may contact the contractor to have additional work done if they'd like to do. The homeowners would be expected to park on the street, although they would not need a permit for those last 15 days when they're actually pouring the new concrete. There are several sustainability benefits to the alleys we're putting in. The gravel used will be 100% recycled crushed concrete from old pavements. Instead of mining for new gravel from quarries, we would use recycled fly ash from coal electric plants in the concrete to reduce the mining for new cement by 30%. And any new asphalt in anybody's driveway would be made from 20 to 35% recycled asphalt pavements as well. The cost for all 10 alleys is $412,000 for the pavement and $253,000 for the storm sewer. So $665,000 for all 10 alleys, or at least our portion. The assessment rates vary based on how wide your alley is. You get what you pay for, essentially. So a 14-foot alley, you pay $26 a foot, and a 20-foot alley, you pay $32 per foot. The assessments for all 10 alleys together is $198,000 that we're collecting from the citizens. So that is about 48% of this top number, the paving number. Here's a sample residential assessment for a 14-foot wide alley, assuming that you have a 40-foot lot. The assessment rate's $26.95, so the total cost to the homeowner would be $1,078. The bills will not be mailed out until March of 2016, so that would be a year from now. At that time, you would have the payment options of paying it all off right away, or a 5-year installment plan, or a 10-year installment plan. Over a 10-year period, assuming 4% interest, the special assessments would range from $151 in 2016 to $112 in the year 2025. Here's a little explanation about special assessments. We have been special assessing for over 100 years because city residents have historically paid the full cost of the street or alley in front of their property, because they do enjoy a unique benefit of having this in front of their property. On this project, as I said, the city would collect $198,000, which is 48% of the paving costs. Assessment rates are the same price per foot for all residential properties anywhere in the city. No matter what the actual bid prices come in, that rate is set at $26 per foot. Everyone is treated equally in that regard. And then businesses, corporations, and manufacturers pay a higher assessment rate to ensure that they contribute their fair share for any additional traffic that they might have. Special assessments are the only way to ensure that tax-exempt schools, churches, charities, hospitals, county parks, utilities, and railroads pay their fair share too. No one is exempt from special assessments, even though there are 430 properties in the city that do not pay any property taxes. Many of these tax-exempt schools, churches, hospitals, and county parks are very large properties, and they only contribute to the city's costs through special assessments. So as an example on this project, Victory Outreach Church there on 61st Street will have a bill of $17,000 in special assessments, even though they do not pay property taxes for most of their properties. They do pay for a couple of their properties, but not the ones pictured here. This is a map of everyone who has paid a special assessment in the last 10 years. You can see that almost everyone is paying their fair share. Most have already paid for their street or alley in front of their property over the last 10 years, so it's pretty universal that everyone is paying their fair share. I just wanted to mention that many of these properties along 60th Street and along National did previously pay for the reconstruction or resurfacing of 60th and National in 2010 and 2011. And some other properties may have gotten estimates for some sidewalk repairs that we do need to make because we would be liable for any injuries that someone would suffer. So some people have had other assessments, but I did want to point out that there are at least 10,000 parcels in the city that do pay for more than one side of their property. So that's 55% of the parcels in the city. So about 7,500 parcels out of the 19,000 do pay for both their street and their alley. So that's 38%. And then there's another 3,400 parcels in the city that do pay for more than one street. So that's 17%. So that's not unusual to be paying for your street and your alley. And then as far as the interest rate, the city does borrow the funds for this project, and the city pays interest to these municipal bondholders over the next 10 years. So the city passes along those interest charges to any residents that do choose the 5 or 10 year payment plan. The city does not make a profit off of the interest that we charge. And at this point, if there's any comments or questions from the council or citizens, they will now be heard.
Thank you, Mr. Daniels. Are there any questions from the Common Council at this time?
Mr. President,
Alderman Vitale.
Vice. Yeah, Peter, I believe, you really present the AL assessment, or you're doing such good job, in details, to explain everything, what really cost, and the questions of the 4%. The impressions of many people before was that the 4%, the city was making money on it, but the city doesn't make money. So,
Right.
so I'm glad now, finally, the last 6 months or year, you've been able to explain those questions, And I'm glad that the capital improvement project that we're doing on the east end with the alley, I think it's due, so I'm full in support of that.
Any other
Thank you.
questions from the council? If not, is there anyone in the audience that would like to speak in favor or in opposition to this proposal? Please state your name and address and sign in either before or after you speak, please.
My name is Deborah Fabian. I own a property at 1135 South 60th, just on the south side of the church, Victory, or on the north side, excuse me. That alley gets an awful lot of traffic. At the northern end, there's a tavern that has a huge dump truck that comes in. Your procedure isn't going to be enough. That thing, it's been filled every year, and I've only owned the property a couple of years. And the church has huge dump trucks that come through, so I'm thinking you're wasting your money if you're not going to do something better than 7 inches of concrete.
Well, that's what most of our streets are. 7 inches will stand up for a good 30 years, 40 years for sure. I mean,
Really? Because
even the
it's
trucks,
just
yeah.
huge.
Yeah.
It's been patched every year, and it just gullies out.
Well, and that's what but that concrete was 87 years old. So, I mean, that was 7 inches as well, and it almost lasted 87 years. But 7 inches will do it. It should stand up to the trucks.
Okay.
Yeah, it'll be fine. It'll last 40 years, I'm pretty sure, at least.
Wow. I don't know if I will. Thank you.
Is there anyone else that would like to speak in favor or in opposition? Anyone else that would like to speak? Hearing none, we'll close this public hearing and move on to item E, citizen participation. This is the time of the meeting where you have an opportunity to address the council on any item whatsoever that you wish. Just please take the microphone, state your name and address, and sign in either before or after you speak. Is there anyone that would like to address the council this evening?
Can we address anything, or just like?
Any subject that you care to speak on?
Hi, my name is Abdul Matlani. I'm from 6502 West Burnham. And we there's an ordinance that rezoned my area, so basically residential, and I have a commercial lot there. And I want to occupy it back as commercial, but I'm unable to do that. I talked to my aldermans about it a while back, like 3 or 4 months ago, probably a little bit longer probably, and we've been going through the procedures about getting it rezoned because they changed it in 2010 without me knowing about it because there was a tenant in there and they didn't send the right paperwork or whatever. But even then, it got rezoned. And it's a commercial building. I can't not put they want me to put a church or they want me to put a daycare or something like that in there. We're unable to do any of that stuff because of basically we don't have the space for that kind of stuff. Anyways, no parking and stuff like that. But anyways, and I can't put a house there because the value won't be there for that. So I wanted to, try to get it rezoned where it was so we can go ahead and operate it as a commercial. That's my feeling on it. I sent out letters already to the neighbors and owners and everything, and no response back. So nobody's really objecting to this. And I would hopefully ask you guys to make sure it gets done that way, if it could. I'd appreciate it, so.
Okay, thank you for your comments. Is there anyone else that would like to address the council this evening? Seeing none, we'll move on to the next item on the agenda. Item F, this is the announcement of recess meetings and standing committees as is printed in your agenda. Item G, Mayor's Report. I have one item for Mayor Devine. I'd like to announce the 26th Annual West Allis Community Dinner Dance being held on Saturday, March 21st at the Zufari Center. It's benefiting the Champion for a Child program. It includes a silent auction, dinner, sweets, entertainment, and tickets are available in the mayor's office or at the clerk's office for $50 apiece. That concludes the mayor's report for this evening. Are there any alderpersons' reports?
Mr. President,
Alderman Probst.
I wanted to remind everybody about the National Avenue study this week at the Constitution Room of the West Allis Public Library from 5:30 to 7:30. It's an opportunity to come in and speak with the individuals in the engineering firm that have sat down and looked at National Avenue and the various different endeavors that we can do with National as we look towards our future. And secondly, we are in the process of celebrating Read Across America Week here in the United States, commemorating Dr. Seuss's birthday, and many of us aldermen have been asked to go into some of our elementary schools and read to some of the kids. I am very honored that I will be reading at Jefferson Elementary School tomorrow to a 5-year-old kindergarten class and a 1st grade class. So, thank you.
Thank you, Alderman Probst. Any other comments by any of the aldermen?
Mr. President,
Alderman Vitale.
approval of the Common Council regular meeting of February 17 to 15.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the minutes. Is there any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. I would entertain a motion, item J3, to refer to the city attorney's office.
So moved. Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Reports of standing committees, license and health. Alderman Shapliski.
Council President Lysak. Take your time.
I'd like to report on 2 items, number 4 and 5 on tonight's agenda. One was a communication, which was voted to place on file, and another one was a bartender's license, which was voted for approval by 4 members of the committee, with 1 member being excused. I'd like to move for the adoption of the committee's report.
It's been moved and seconded to adopt the committee's report. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Item L on the agenda is a motion for reconsideration.
Mr. President,
Alderman Probst?
I would like to make a motion for the reconsideration on the secondhand dealers moratorium.
I'll second.
It's been moved and seconded to reconsider Resolution Item 6. Is there any discussion? Madam Clerk, would you call the roll?
Alderperson Vitale.
Aye.
Weigel.
Aye.
Barzak.
Aye.
Chapletsky.
Aye.
Haas.
Aye.
Lysick.
Aye.
May.
Aye.
Probst.
Aye.
Reinke.
Aye.
Rote.
Aye.
10 in favor, none opposed.
Motion carries. Alderman Vitale.
Mr. Mayor, we move for recess at this time.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.